like in last session, we have uh, taken an example of like few data points, and we try to calculate, derive a relation between x and y through this. So if you remember, if what just let me recall it, so, just in 2 minutes. So like we have taken y, relation between x and y as something like theta naught plus theta 1 x, where theta naught and theta 1 is what we have to find out. So what we have done is we have initially taken zeros of both and then calculated what is the error, and then next, like we have incremented it to some value and then calculated error, and we are observing the error at different points. Okay, so from this what we have done is like we have when we plot all this, like we can see at some point of theta values, like we are able to get a minimum error. Okay, so in machine learning, usually it's not always guaranteed that we will be getting a zero error and we will be getting a perfect relation. We will only get an approximate relation. Okay, so because if you see this points, like whatever points we have, so when we try, say these are the points, right? So all these points, it is impossible to connect through a single straight line, right? So but we have taken a straight line equation here. So it is anyway impossible to connect all the points, but what we'll try to do in this case is like we try to get some approximate line where most of the points get not needed that most of points. Let me say one case like this. So let us say it's like this. So where your error from the line, okay, so for this case, like this is error, right? For this case, this is error, right? So these errors will get minimized. That is what we try to do here. So, but actually, here we have increased this theta kind of randomly, right? Like just like we have added one here to added like made it to 1.5. But in real time, like do you know like should it be increased like by one or like a point 0.5 here, or should it decrease? Like this should be defined. Like we have need to have some set of rules that like it should be increased or decreased. Okay, so like one observation what we can do is maybe even like what we have done even there is like we have seen how is our error value increasing or decreasing. So for theta, if I'm increasing theta 1 here, okay, so my error value decreased. Okay, and in next case here again, what we did, we have increased theta. This time we increased theta naught value. Again, our error value decreased. So next time, like again, we what we did, we increased theta 1 again. So but it went to negative. Okay, so it decreased, but like again, it in negative side, it went to a slightly negative. So from this, we are able to find out that theta 1, the better value of optimum value of theta 1 will be somewhere in between 1 and 2. Okay, so next time what I have done is like I made it 1.5 and checked. So where I got something like this. Okay, so this time again from negative, it again came back to positive. So then what I thought is like maybe by increasing some theta 1, theta naught for some value, like will give a better value. Okay, so then what I did, I made from 1 to 11. Okay, but so it again came back to in the other direction. So slowly, so if you take like we are able to get, if you take a modulus of this, like the absolute value of this, then we are almost reaching some 6.5. But even now we are not sure that this is the minimum value possible. Then maybe again you tune with some other values here, and again you may get like some other minimum value, maybe some 3 or 2 or 1.5 or maybe even 0, some 0 or maybe 0.005 or something to that level. Okay, but when should we decide like we should stop now? Okay, that is also a criteria which we have to define, right? So something like this. So and if you increase like more, it went to like very high value over here. So this is what we tried. Okay, we'll go into details anyway now. So let me tell the outer picture which I have tested. So once we are able to get some relation, so what we have done is, from for a new x value here, for a new x value, we are able to find out the y for it. Okay, right? So in case if you like code now, we anyway you got theta naught and theta 1 values, right? So for these values, if you give a new x here, you are able to get the new y value. Okay, so it is this model, like this 11 plus 1.5x is your model. Okay, so you are able to predict uh, like for x the y value for the given x. Okay, so this is what you have done till now. Okay, so this is actually, when our model may not be this simple, but finally it will be something like this, right? So it will be a kind of function between your x and y. Okay, so means like input and output, it will be a function giving a relation that like output equal to function of input. Okay, and we are actually trying to find out this function. That is what is our model. Okay, so now next step would be right, I actually, for simplicity, I have taken error as like direct simplicity of my calculation actually. Like, so what I have done is I have taken error as y actual minus uh, y predicted. Okay, but usually in, and even modulus. Okay, but usually what will happen is like error we will be, and it's actually sum of all, right? uh, we have taken sum of all and then we take a modulus of okay, so let me, and then like, but actually in real cases, like what we will be doing is, for every value actual minus y predicted, we'll be taking square of that and square of sums of it, and then under root divided by number of values. This is what we usually take for calculating an error, instead of a direct like difference between actual minus predicted. What we do is we take square like sum of squares of differences, and average of sum of squares of differences in this case. So we call this as RMS, root mean square values. In the case like, we can also take this, but like usually this is the most preferred like error value which people use. Okay, so there are, other than this, it is our choice like to define different kinds of error values. Like we will be going into those as well, like, but as of now, for like, because like we are in the starting stages, let's like take this RMS value, and only with this, like, let's continue proceed further. I also mention like what are the other different kinds of error functions what we use. So then okay, but as of now, let's go with this. Okay, but I'm not going to calculate all here. So this is clear, right? Like, I'm not again going to calculate error for each of them and then do, because the procedure will be same, just that these values will change. The curve will also be similar. Okay, but what I'm going to do now is, like here, what we have done is, like, we have increased our theta just randomly. Okay, like actually it's not very random, but like I thought like uh, increase by one, then decrease by one, depending on the error value. But in reality, let's code for it. Means like let's define some criteria how much should be increased. Okay, so how it will be known is, so let me write theta naught mu, theta naught volt plus, so how much should be increased? Like this is what we are going to directly quote. Okay, previously what we did is to the older value, I increased 1 here. Okay, so here in this case, I am going to define a criteria through which we are going to uh, like through which we are going to like change the values. Okay, so this is the criteria which let's generalize it. Okay, so we'll go into theta later, but let me generalize this over there. So even if you go to complex algorithms as well, we'll be following the same thing. So this is the thing like which we have. So we call this as gradient. Okay. So this, what is this like? It is a derivative. How much of your error change like because of this theta, change in theta, like what is the rate of change of your error to rate of change of your parameter. This is what you are going to have here. So in case if you have 2 3 parameters, so let's say it's like theta naught and theta 1, right? So what will be going to have it like if it is theta naught new equal to theta naught old plus, we will be doing partial derivatives here. Okay, and similarly theta naught theta 1 new equal to theta 1 old plus dou e by dou 1. Okay, but actually one more thing is like these values if you see are in like 145 70, like there is like very high variation you can see. So the values what you are going to increase, let us say our values are in like 0 to 0, 1 0 1 to 1.5 something like that, right? But if you take this value, it will be very high, it will be in some terms of like 50 70 something like this. So if you add directly that point, like it will uh, like from 0 it will increase to 51 55 something like this, right? So it is not actually direct like what it will give very huge value. Okay, so let's what we also have is in the sense I'll tell you like that thing, like I have to teach one concept for that. So what we also have with this is a kind of learning rate. So there is some kind of value here. So depending on this value, we this is a kind of a constant which we will use it to multiply. So in the sense, let's say your theta or not, okay, theta not new is old. Old is, let us say, is something like 10. Okay, so a plus like in case if you have some 50 coming from this derivative value, so you will be multiply, you usually alpha value will be some 0.01 or something like this. So because of which your value will be 10 plus 0.01 into 50 is like 5. Okay, one to this, one to this, so it will be 15. Okay, theta naught. So this is okay, but in case if you don't have that, so if it is direct plus 50, if there is no alpha, then it will go to 60, like it will jump to a different level immediately, right? So to control how much variation you have, so we keep one more multiplier at this level. Okay, so there are like very good uses because of this. Your entire algorithms performance also is based on this. Like let me show you with an example here. Okay, so just probably, okay, so what will happen is, let me draw a diagram here and show you like exactly is going to happen. Okay, so your error function just like your theta. Okay, so let us say your error function is like we have seen like how the error function varies, right? Something like this. It will get a minimum at some point, but and if you remember, this is like root of squares, right? So usually it won't be negative. Earlier, like when we plotted, we made an absolute value, but at this level, we don't have a negatives anyway, because like it's root of square. So like we'll be getting only positive value. So let's keep it from 0 to some level. Okay. So what happens is, let us say your value is here, initial value is here. Okay. So your theta is some value like 1 or 10. Okay. So next what happens, you because of this you got a new value, and then it decreases to some point here. Okay, so this is the first point, this is the second, and next what happens. So if you see, like let us say it has you have given one more value, like you got a change in theta from this, and it has decreased like this. Okay, so and next part is like, let's say it has next part, it has increased it to some level here. Again, like you got something and it has increased. Okay, so now what will happen is, like in reality case, you have seen like if you remember here, what I have done is where it has went to 2, where it went to negative value, means like it went to the other side. Then what I have done, I have like reduced this theta, right? So why I have done is, you can see the derivative of it will change the size. Okay, till here this is derivative, right? If you see this gradient, this is derivative, right? For this derivative, usually like it is actually indicates the direction of your error curve. Okay, at this level it will point like this, at this level it will point like this, and in case if it changes direction, it will be like this. Okay, so what will happen is, from in the sense, sign of the derivative will change, because here the theta is different. If you take this one, like it is going like this, so the angle made with x-axis is different. Okay, but when it is going like this, angle made with x-axis is different. Okay, this is negative, this is positive, so you have different values. There will be a change in sign of your like derivative. Okay, so what will happen is, you get negative values here. Okay, finally what you'll be getting is the negative values here, because of which what happens is your theta value will decrease. Okay, so let's say it decreased till here. Okay, so next thing what we'll do is, like again we'll see, and now it is decreasing, right? So while it is decreasing, still like it is in the same direction. So again, like next time when you run it, theta will decrease, let us say. So it came to this theta value. Okay, we have like 50 here, it came to 40, and it came to 30 here. Okay, so this level, and now what happens is, if you see, this is a different graph, like okay, the direction is different, it is going down like in a different direction. So what happens is, your derivative value will change the sign, it will be positive. So what happens, so it should come this way, right? So and so, like what it will try to do is, if you observe this grade formula here, it will try to get to some minimum position, this way to this way, this way to this way, somewhere it will try to get a kind of a minimum point, it will try to get a minimum point. Or let us say it is already in a minimum point. Okay, so it reached that minimum. Then what happens is, in case if you see, if it is in minimum, what happens, so this one is parallel to x-axis, in the sense your derivative of this function will be 0. Okay, so what happens is, this value doesn't change, this is 0, so this will remain at same point. Okay, then also the same thing, the same process will parallelly occur for this as well, for theta 1. Similarly, it will try to get to that point where exactly it will be zero. Okay, so not zero, derivative of it will be zero. So once if the derivative is zero, means like your theta values won't change in it from then, right? So once your theta values is not changing, then it means then it has achieved that optimal position and we can stop it. Okay, so that is what we are trying here. So here if you see, it has not achieved the optimal position. It is still in like minus 6.5. Again we keep like some more iteration changing these values here, and we can get like some better value. Okay, so that way we can do it, but through the algorithm we can directly do it. Okay, so this is the way like our algorithm will directly without any manual calculation. Anyway, it won't be manual calculation. You will be doing programming legally. So, but you will be defining a set of criteria instead of like increasing your theta randomly. You will increase based on this formula. Okay, based on your error function, how it is changing with your error function, you are actually changing it. Okay, but then what is the need of this alpha? Okay, that is what we are going to see now. What happens is, let us say your d by d theta is 50. Okay, let's do that way. So in case if there is no alpha, okay, so first it is 10, then it is 60. Mhm. Let's make, so let's make it 60, 110, 160, something like this. Okay. So let us say you have 50. So your d by dt is 650. Then what happened is it came till here. So still like you have positive direction. Next point, what it will do is it will again, let's say again you got 50 or 40. Okay. So what will happen is it will jump here. So you got some value here. Okay. So now actually what will happen is it has changed the direction, right? It has changed the direction. So it we will be doing negative, right? Just like how I told before. So let us say negative is minus 40 now. D by d theta at this level is like at 110 is minus 40. So minus 40 will go till 70. Minus 40, right? Like previously it is 110 minus 40, then theta 1 equal to 70. So this 70, again you computed, you got some value. And then when you compute t by t theta at 70, let us say you got some minus 60 or something. Okay, it usually won't be like this, but let me give some example that. So what happens here is like it is 60, right? So your value, if there is no alpha, like I'm talking about no alpha situation, from 70, like it won't, it will be plus because it is in this direction. It will be plus 60. It will go to 130. So it has jumped this till here. Okay. So what is happening is it will try, and again when you give one more dt, it will jump somewhere here. Okay, somewhere 30. So it is actually instead of going to actual value from here, let us say it came here, then it came here, it came here, it came here. So like that it is oscillating, but never it will reach the minimum value because the range you are increasing itself is like more. Okay, this itself, the value itself, like how much you are increasing itself is too much, so that what is happening is it is traveling within this places, but it's not reaching this place because your increment itself is like too much. It's going like this from here, like this it is going. Okay, but it will never reach here because minimum value to change itself is like too big at this level. So that's why actually this alpha actually plays a role. where if you keep okay very small alpha, okay, so let me give this value is 0.0001, okay, something like very small alpha. So what happens is, even though now let us say this point, at this point, even though your d by d theta is like huge, okay, let us say 100, but when you multiply with alpha, what it will be? 0.0001 into 100, which will be zero point 0.0, right? So it will not change much. It will be here only. Okay. So your theta value will be here only. So next time again, if you change, you get like d theta is again something like 200 or something like or 50 or something. So again, if you multiply, it will change only point not not. Okay. So it's like very small increments like this. So slowly it will go here, and maybe it has skipped the minimum. Okay, let us say it has skipped the minimum. It reached here. So next time it will be negative, and it is increasing only slightly. Slowly it will reach here. Okay, so this is how it will reach when smaller learning rate. Okay, if you give very small learning rate, the change in theta, the increment in theta will be very small. So it what will happen is it will slowly come, and it will try to reach the minimum value. Okay, but if you keep a larger learning rate, what will happen is, so as I told before, like from here, it will directly jump here. Okay, from here again it will directly jump here. So like this. So, and it may even be here, but it may not even reach this minimum position, or it may just oscillate at this level. Okay, so these kind of variation. But here, if you see, it's like increasing very slowly, but reaching to this level. Okay, so what are the advantages and disadvantages of this? Is like let me come to that. Okay, so for alpha being very small, Q may reach the local minimum. Okay. So let's write optimal point is high. Okay. But what is happening is it is taking so many iterations. If you see from here to here, like to converge from error value from 100 to something like 10, it is taking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So more than 10, 15 steps, right? So the convergence is slow. We call it like convergence, right? So okay, it is coming from somewhere far to a minimal point, like so we call this as convergence. Okay, so convergence is slow, but when you come to alpha is higher learning rate, what happens is this convergence is faster. From some 100, you are able to reach some 10 or 15 within like 5 6 iterations. Okay, but convergence is faster. Okay, but what happened is the guarantee of chances of reaching optimal point is less, right? So it may just oscillate between these two, but not reach this point here, right? So this is a possibility. So because of this, so which do you think is better? Like is keeping a smaller alpha is better, or keeping larger alpha is better? What do you think? Hello?
Hello. Yeah, smaller alpha is better.
Smaller alpha is better, right? Yes. So,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, because like our main idea is to get to this point. Okay, get to the lowest point. So because of it, smaller alpha, like smaller learning rate, will do better than larger learning rates. Okay, but in reality, what happens is, so in reality, your this value, whatever we are trying to do, this error value will be somewhere around. So let us say this is taking like how many steps, like 10 steps or something, right? So this is taking around like 20 steps, let us say, and here it is taking around like 6 7 steps, 6 steps. Okay, so this is the difference between these two. But in reality, what we will be doing is, so usually to obtain this like minimum point, we may have to do some 10,000 plus steps, 10,000 or maybe 100,000 steps. Okay, in reality, I'm talking about real examples, like what we, if in case of a complex example, not a kind of simple examples like this, we will be attaining very soon. But in reality, we may have to do even million times of iterations sometimes. Okay, it depends on how complex the problem is. So if you take a smaller learning rate, this will go to some 100k steps, and you keeping a higher learning rate will do that convergence, not to the level but to the point, in maybe some 5k to 10k steps. Okay, let's write 10k. Okay, so this is the case. So maybe, because like actually time also matters, because usually for a complex algorithms, it may take even weeks to run this. Okay, like I experienced this like during my, when I was studying. So this part, like when I was training my first model, it used to take like 2 3 weeks to run one model. Okay, so for it to attain some better values. So, but here, in case if it is like 100k, so it may even take like 8 to 10 weeks as well. Like, see, if you see, it is like 10 times, right? So, 10 times would be something like 20 weeks. So, is it realistic to train your model 20 weeks? Is no, right? So then, but we also need something like convergence. That is, that we are able to achieve with the smaller learning rate. We actually, then now what happened is, we need this feature. Sorry, not this feature. So we don't need this feature. So we need the advantage of smaller learning rate where the convergence is also optimal, and we also want it faster. We want mix of both. Okay, right? So this is what we need, so that at least what happens is, you're training your model, maybe it won't take like this much time. Instead, it will take like somewhat lesser time, maybe instead of 20 weeks, it may take like something like 4 weeks, 5 weeks is like too much, but now at the present computing scenario, but still, like instead of like waiting for like months together, by keeping very small learning rate, what we do is like we use the kind of mixed approach, where we try to make it in a kind of middle, like not like 10k or 20k, it will be somewhere around like 25k iterations or something, where we will set it. Okay, so how are you going to achieve this? So instead, because like you want advantages of both sides, right? So how we are going to do it is, we are going to try a different approach, where there is something called learning decay. So here, what we can do is like get the best of both worlds here. Okay, so you can get higher chances of learning rate, as sorry, chances of getting optimal as well as convergence will be faster. Like both sides, like you can get, like how we can do that is like initially for a set of like what we do is we do a mix of higher learning rate initially and slowly decrease the learning rate for each iteration. Okay, this is the strategy which we can follow. It means like what it says is like every time or like let us say alpha is given something like 10. Okay, some higher value. Usually that will be abnormal. Like we'll be giving some 0.1 or something. Just for let's say you are given very high value. Okay. So from here we are trying to initially keep a higher learning rate. Okay. So and what happens is from here just so what we try to do is like from here we will actually like initially let's say it is a higher learning rate, right? So let me draw this graph where initially we are here and next iteration we are here and next iteration we are here because like it is higher learning rate, right? But it's like we are calling it iteration. Every iteration you decrease the learning rate. Okay, so from 10 I make it like 1. This is alpha 1, let's say. In the next iteration, in the sense once it comes here, my learning rate now it has become 1. Okay, in the next stage, like what I'll do is I will make this alpha 3 as like 0.1. So it will be slightly less. It won't jump till that point. So alpha 4 0.01. Now it let us say it has jumped here, but from now next point I'll put like 0.01. It will start growing like this, right? Because slowly what we have done is we have decreased the learning rate here, right? So what happens? Okay, what happened here is like we have actually switched it from a higher learning rate to a lower learning rate. Okay, so at this point what happened from like error value 100 we are able to achieve in maybe just like 6-7 steps earlier we thought, right? Similarly we were able to achieve this uh, like smaller position in like very less number of iterations. Okay, if you say maybe some 10 previously like alpha low, let me do a comparison here, put a table. So alpha low learning rate, alpha high, alpha decay. Okay, let me. So what we can say here is for alpha low, number of iterations. Let's say this is taking around 20. Okay, in high we are able to get in 6. Here decay. So if you see, like if it is kept at 10, it is let us say it is coming in like 6-7 iterations, right? So just like when it is high, but every time we are decreasing it by 10. We are dividing it by 10 and we are passing it. So what is happening is it won't be like in 6-7. It may take like some 11. Okay, something like this. So and after that it has converged. Then what happens? If we are able to, it is slow down, slowly. Like it will try to get into minimum value from error 100 to 10. Okay, for this like not like 0. We are counting only till this some point here. So to this level we are achieving it in like comparatively less number of iterations than a first one. Okay, but from here it will be slow because like we have switched to very low learning rates here. It will be slow and we will be reaching the minimum position. Okay, So thing here is, so one more thing here is, this is all, this thing also matters, how much are you going to decrease here. Okay, here we made it a factor of 0.1, which will be switching within like 5 to 6 iterations from 10 to like 0.001, right? So just in 5 to 6 iterations, but this is not the case in reality. Because we will be having like 10 power 10k iterations or something. So each iteration, if you are decreasing it by 0.1, it will be 10 power 0 something like this one. Okay, so so many zeros and ones. So then it's like almost like it's not changing at all, right? So what we usually have is, like, we call this value as alpha new equal alpha world plus we make a factor of it. It won't be plus alpha world. Let me it will be, let me call it beta into alpha world. We'll every iteration, or sometimes every epoch, I'll be telling what epoch and iteration is. So we will be doing this thing, like we'll be multiplying with a factor, just like here we multiplied with 0.1. Okay, here beta is 0.1. So, but it won't be to that level. It will be 0.99 into alpha world. Usually, like, this is a default value which we take for detailed learning rate. Okay. So what will happen is, from 9, 0.99 will make it like 0.9. Then it will be okay. I don't want to calculate again. So slowly it will reach there. But in reality, because it will be 10k iterations or like thousands of iterations, lakhs of iterations, so you can actually reach to minimum point while exactly like when you are reaching. Okay, so this also, again, your performance of your model again depends on this parameter, like what you are going to set. Okay, there is like, now till now we have like two different parameters which we are going to set, which are alpha and beta. Okay, till now these were the two. Let's see like what in future if we are getting some more. Okay, so this is about learning rate. So in case if you vary your learning rate, your how your performance optimal value will change. So, and also we have seen what is the, how we can like how to vary our theta. So with this theta, we were able to get like a relation between, finally by doing all this, we have to get a relation like this, right? So this is called linear regression. Okay, so if you see, like for this, like, or for any algorithm, what we will be having is, what are the important things is, like, one thing is the error function. You have to define your error function. In this case, we have made it RMS value. Okay, there are like many other values, like let's discuss this later point. Okay, this is one thing. And one more thing is, okay, before even approaching this problem, this is number 2. Let me keep it number 2. So what is number 1 is, so initially we have to like, this is theta naught plus theta 1, right? Maybe it can be something else, right? You can make it theta naught plus theta 1 x plus theta 2 x square plus theta 3 x cube, so on, right? It can be anything like this. So, and just that for everything you only have thetas which you want to calculate. Okay. So for all those things, you have to get the theta which you want to calculate. So first point is, define the relation. So structure y equal to theta naught plus theta 1x. This is what you are going to give. Okay, or maybe theta 2 x square. Doesn't matter. It will follow the same, like just like how we are doing if there is only single variable, or like single parameter or multiple parameters, we will be doing the same thing. Okay, and next step is you define the error function. Sorry. Okay. Sometimes we call this as loss function, error function, or loss function. Okay, so we call it in these two ways. Like mostly in further sessions, we'll be calling it more as a loss function rather than error function. So this is one more thing. Like we have to decide what loss we want to take. So next part is third step is like we have to define the learning rate. And once you did it, then the thing is you have defined the model structure here. Okay, we can also call it as a model structure, right? And then we made a loss function. Then what we are doing here is this is called optimization, right? You are trying to find the minimum optimal value for theta. Okay, this is what you are going to do. So this optimization, this is called like actually what you are trying to do here is called like this through let me see, mu equal to theta old plus alpha d by d theta, right? So we call this what this is derivative is also called as gradient. If you can remember from we also call derivative of function is also called as a gradient. Okay, so we are trying to what we are trying to do is minimize this to zero. So actually what we are trying is like we are finding out the point where your derivative is zero so that we can settle over there. Okay, it need not be the error as zero. Okay, we can't reach to that point of error in most of the cases, but what we settle here is wherever your d derivative is zero, we will settle at that point. Okay, so in that case, like what we are doing here is like we are making your gradient value from a higher to lower value. Okay, so this is called gradient descent algorithm. So this is called so similarly at this level for finding out the optimal points here in our example we have chosen a gradient descent algorithm. Similarly to the gradient descent algorithm, there will be like few more algorithms which we can experiment with. So and we can find out if that is giving a good better result as well. So but for an example to start with, we have taken gradient descent. So at this level, optimize we have to select the optimization algorithm and to find out, let me rephrase that. To find the optimal, choose the optimization algorithm. Okay, so once you got it, now you are able to, once you got it right, so next thing is now we got the relation between x and y. Okay, y equal to something theta naught plus theta 1 x. So where these are optimal values. Okay, so let's for kind of generalization, let's instead of this. So because these steps will be same for everything, so let me call it generically by theta x. Okay, so where this theta is a metric. Okay, let's introduce to that level. Just skipping directly to the first one. Okay, so here if you see here, what is happening here is we got the relation between x and y now. Okay, for a new value what we do is a prediction. Okay, how are we going to predict? We are going to predict for in case you got a new x value. Then what we do is compute theta into new x2, and then we are going to get y new. Okay, for a new value, we are going to do the prediction this way. Okay, these are the steps, like kind of a life cycle of your model. Like it will follow initially these steps, finally find out your relation between, in the sense like it will actually train the model. Like what we call this is this entire process, actually this process. Okay, from here to here, we call it as training the model. Right? Till this point, this is a phase of training model. Okay, so what are you doing here? Like you are giving the values, like history values of your x and y and then you are obtaining the relation between x and y, where the model automatically is learning the theta value for it, right? From the algorithm what you are giving, it is learning the model. Okay, so actually this process itself is called training. Okay, where you make the model learn automatically the relation between your input and output. That is called training. Okay, for this you choose different optimization algorithms, which were one of them is gradient descent. So once you do it, in case you are deploying your solution, okay, so that is a prediction phase which was here. So there is only one, you know. Okay, so that is this phase where, so this is what you are going to deploy. This solution is what you are going to deploy, and your solution will predict this. Okay, like for a new value, in case let's take the same thing, rent prediction. So for rent prediction, it will like for the value previous values, it will predict the new values here. Okay, this is what will happen. Okay, like in real-time production, you'll be, let's say it's a kind of a browser or something finally, where you enter your X values and finally it will predict you and give you like this is the predicted Y value, something like that. Okay, as an example. So this is about kind of linear regression. We actually have completed a basic level of linear regression here, but there are like so many things. Okay, let's say, hello. Usual cases, what will happen is like we make it like for error functions, most of the cases will be using this RMS for regression, but there are a set of 5 to 6 different kinds of error function. But sometimes when your problem statement is completely new and where you have to write your own function, so in that case, you have to think about your problem statement and what you want to achieve, and depending on that, we have to write our own function. Okay, so let me tell this example. Why we have chosen RMS here is, we finally what is our objective of this particular case is, let's take for different x. Let us say you have let me allow write a graph, like bigger graph. Okay, so what we are trying to do is, we are trying to find a line like this. Okay, where you have, this is an error for this x's are actually points. Okay, you have x and this is a y. So for this, we are trying to minimize this gap. Okay, this is what is right. Like if you see, this is y actual, this is y predicted for the text. Okay, not here, like okay, I just draw it this way, but if you take that line, right, so that is what is a let me draw it properly. Okay, it will be clear for you. So let me take that. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so let me try this. So you have these values here. So let us say it has predicted this line. Okay, assume that. So for this x, this is the predict actual value, but it has predicted this, right? Okay, I'll make it in a different color so that it will be. Uh, okay, it has predicted this, and similarly for this value, it has predicted this. For this x value, it has predicted this, but actually this. Similarly, okay, same here. Okay, so okay, so if you take this, what is happening here is for y graph what we have drawn. Okay, so this is y equal to theta x. This red line is like y equal to theta x, but in reality those values are here, somewhere here. Okay, but initially for this x1, x2, x3, many data points. Okay, we have these many data points. So for each data point, this is what this is the actual value, this is the predicted value of y. Okay, so let me also draw it. Mm, okay, so many dots. Okay, so if you take this, for this is a actual value, let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Somewhere take only this x1 example where 30 is a actual value, but it has predicted 10. Okay, so the difference is 20. So ideally, what this learning rate will do is it will try to adjust this line so that it will align it so that this error is minimum. Okay, so something like this. It will try to get to some point like this so that your error now, right, it will be minimum. Okay, something like this it will try to do. But like for doing it, what we are doing is how to do on this. Okay, let me I'm removing this blue line. Okay, so for that what we are doing is we are telling the algorithm that take like this is like difference between actual and predicted, right? So this is difference between actual and predicted, this this. So okay, so take these values and actual minus predicted, do the square of it. Okay, and sum all those values because we only finally will be having only single value, right? Need only single value. So I am summing all these values, this one square, this one square, this one square, this square, and this square. I am summing all these and taking a root of it because we are squaring it, right, to just to make it like we are taking a root, but we also have added all these, right? So if there are 100 examples, there will be 100, right? So I am making an average before here. So this is what we are trying to do here. Okay, what we are trying to do is square root and then sum of square and take a average of it. Okay, so this case what it will do is it will calculate these things, and it objective of that function is optimization is to minimize these values. In case if we it will check like this. Okay, like if we do like this value is only this, if this value is only now some, this value is minimized only this much, but this value increase. Oh, is it better, like if we again sum and calculate this value, is it better than previously? Something like that, it will try to check like that and then do. But if your objective is something different where you in most of the cases, like finally your objective will be like this only, where you have to reduce these errors and all. Okay, so but in reality there are like for regression problems mostly will go with this, but in some cases you will have like some different thing, like for that you need to like some more things I have to introduce, like that will be in next session. So we are anyway going to do some more functions. Okay, so this is what we are going to do here. Okay, this is why this is how actually this function will work. So what happens in the next case is, let's say in next iteration, let me draw with a different color. So it will try to adjust your point such that your value is somewhere here, so that your new values will have lesser error values. Okay, the sum of the errors, like what it will find finally through this is minimum. That is what we are trying to do here. Okay, so this is about this. So we have seen the entire life cycle. So let's see, like till now we have only seen a single variable, right? So in tomorrow's session, let's see a multi-variable classification, where instead of a single value, let's take about where your instead of a single value x, you have x1 and x2, and okay, let's not confuse with the previous terminology. Let's make it 0.1, 0.2 over there. Okay, so here let's see if we have x1 and x2, and we have to find a relationship between y, something like this. So you have 10, 20, you have 30, you have 40, 50, and 100. Some minus 10, minus 50, it's like 70, something like this. Okay, so you have these values. So and we have to find out a relation again, like in this case, how we are going to proceed, because like till now what we have seen is just y equal to theta naught plus theta 1 x, but which is like y equal to f of just x. Okay, now you have y equal to f of x1, x2, and similarly if you have multiple variables, okay, just not two, it can be like some 10, 20, 100, some n variables. Okay, so for that case, something like x1, x2, so on xn. So for this case, how are you going to deal with it? So this will be our discussion tomorrow. Then we'll see like how we are going to proceed. Okay, okay, yeah, this is about it for today. Well, let's meet tomorrow for this discussion.